Hello and welcome to Building Symfony application video series. In the last episode, we tried some layout and theme generators, and that actually failed quite badly. They just simply couldn't do what we needed, so in the end, we kind of just winged everything and tried to make our application to look a little bit nicer, which, well, it doesn't look that bad. I was thinking for a bit what the next episode could be, so I didn't want to make uh, too much of the stuff in it, so having too much things to learn and explain, but I still wanted it to be not that long and teaching something useful of some useful tools and libraries. And I decided what it would be pretty nice to make it about installing and using phpspec, which is used for testing, in this case for unit testing. So, and the tests we will add in the beginning would be for UUID value object. So value object is something that comes from domain-driven design, and right now for our entities we are using just string values, and that string value could actually be anything, so we should, if in this case we should be making checks but it is actually a string that represents UUID, and just to all that logic could be simply encapsulated into a UUID value object, so you wouldn't need to repeat the same code of checking for the correct value in all the entities created. This will also give us type hints, so in adding additional checks, whether everything should work as expected, and something for checking what those values what I use it for creating UUIDs are actually a correct string value. We'll be using a Beverly assert package, which is a nice collection of assertions what value is what you are expecting. So first let's start with installing phpspec, and you can check its website, and it has like a quick intro, a little bit outdated but doesn't matter, and it has you can check the documentation where it explains what spec.bdd is actually is, and you have a lot of sections like how to get started with it, configuration, running it, matchers, extensions to, and you can go just to installation. Yeah, right now it's a little bit outdated, so simply just run composer require command. This will only be needed on development environments, so add a dev flag and then just add a library which is phpspec. The version will be decided by composer and simply install it. So now phpspec is installed and it should be working. To run it, it should be in vendor bin phpspec directory, so it gives you the commands you can run, and we have a bash alias added to our environment, so we can just run phpspec. So it executes the same vendor bin phpspec command. And so we have like some commands. Most what will be used is describe, which creates a new specification, and another is run, which runs the specifications and creates class and methods if needed. Okay, so let's create our first specification. So you can see the command is describe, but desk should work just as fine. Use the one which you like. So um, it would be phpspec desk, and then you put a fully qualified class name. So you can add wherever you want things. In this case, the UID allow object is kind of depends on the domain, and it doesn't depend on implementation. And I think it's fine to add it under the domain namespace. So in this case, it would be domain, and then you could just like go core or like user and whatever else you might want. I think for this project I wouldn't be splitting, at least at this moment, the domain into too much sections, so everything will be under domain namespace. And so in this case I will skip the rest. If I was putting it into more like granular namespaces, in this case I would put it under domain core, but this will be fine. So domain follow object, and then it will be just ID. So press enter, and command is not found. Okay, forgot the P. And it created a specification. Actually, I wanted it. I actually didn't expect it to work the way it worked, and the way it actually does what I want from what I can say. Kind of what I was expecting, because phpspec works on PSR 0 for you to create things not exactly how I wanted it. So adding another section of configuration suits, but because the described namespace is mostly just PSR 0, it's actually fine. So if you wanted to do it, your objects are under PSR 4, you would need to make the configuration changes to describe what is the suit namespace and what is PSR4 prefix. But yeah, so it working fine. Everything is in spec, like specifications is under spec directory, and the classes are in the source directory. So if you would actually you could change the things like use a different directories for specs. I actually think wrote an article about that configuration. If so, if you're really interested, you can check it out on how to make a configuration for different spec paths or source path or you have different prefix, but right now it actually works fine. So just in case, check our specification and domain follow object UUD spec, and it is utilizable. Okay, everything looks actually good. So let's run our PHP specs and see what happens. So PHP spec run, and as you can see, it is actually asking us if we want to generate our class, because we don't have it. So we can just do yes, and it creates our class. So let's check our newly created class and UUID, this one, and as you can see, it's just a simple class. Right now, nothing interesting about it. What I kind of don't like about this one right now is what it missing strict types for PHP 7, and I would like to mark this as a final class. So let's actually do that. To do this, come on. I hate the delete. Never can get the right one. Delete. Oh, screw you. Okay, that's deleted right now. Actually, it's the same problem for this one, so I would like this here, and actually that doesn't really make any difference, but just for fun I would also kind of like this here. So okay, it still works. So to do these things, we need to change the PHP spec templates used, and you can find the info in the documentation on how to do it. So you can override templates for specification class or method, and yeah, so you can do whatever you want in them, and here is the order in which they are loaded. So we can actually just check come on, vendor PHP spec source. Come on, no, generator, I think. Let's try generator templates. Yeah, so you can see we have multiple templates right here. You should know what it is named by the template, but if you are overriding them, they should be in TPL extension. So let's just actually copy this, and we need to create them class TPL, and this will be completely different CRUD application, and this is PHP spec this one. Yeah, so let's create this one. As you can see, inside phpspec class tpl. So this right here is namespace, so I guess we will add this right here. Namespace will be, I think, has a new line beforehand. So, and then class file, let's do final. Let's check if it actually works. Create a new object. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we messing this up. Not a problem. We just gonna, yeah, so this should have been on new line. Final class looks fine. And let's try to delete it. Delete. Okay, a new line, namespace, final class. Let's try it again. And it suggests to create it, and it creates. Open our OID. That looks beautiful. So we declare strict types for our PHP 7. We have our namespace, and we have final for the class. So it's your decision if you want to do final or not to do it. I'm kind of starting to like adding final because mostly right now the issue is only when trying to mock that object because you can't really extend final classes. So only at those points it is an issue, and I find it fine because it's kind of defensive programming, because if it's completely fine to remove a final keyword in my opinion, but it gives you just a second to think if you really need to remove final, or if maybe you are doing something wrong or just not as right as you could be doing it. So okay, we have our UID. Let's just, okay, we can do that. Let's just delete this one actually, and also let's delete this too, because what I want to do is change change the template for, okay, we have interface. I guess we could do just okay, interface method for a method name arguments. Okay, that looks fine. Let's leave it as is. Name it constructor. That looks fine too for the moment at least, so let's leave it as it is. You can name it constructor, so okay, for the moment it's fine too. We have private constructor, doesn't care. Return constant, fine with me, and we have yeah, specification template, so I want to copy this one also. So specification TPL, and just put it where it needs to be, inside php spec directory, a hidden one. and let's make changes. So we add this one. This looks good. Just can add final actually, and that looks pretty good in my. So right now we have no specifications, but we can create one again with the spec. And okay, everything looks fine. Strict types, namespace use, and final. So everything looks actually very nice. So this initial function is pretty useful because it makes sure that it allows makes it easy for you to create your class for the object just when you run the phpspec tests, and after you initialize the class, it's your choice if you want to leave it or if you want to remove it. I actually personally found that I like to keep this test because if sometimes something changes and for some reason your class isn't correct anymore, this is a quick test to like smoke test, so to say. So to fail your test suite before running the rest of the tests. So it's simple easy test. So it's your choice. You can name it how you want. So it could actually be, it has some interface, or it implements some interface, or it has type. Let's maybe change it to name it differently. Don't think that for the deval object I would be making an interface. Don't really kind of see a need for it at the moment, at least. It might be breaking solid principles a little bit, but I think it's actually fine. So, but let's just name it into something what is a bit more easier to understand, which describes this test method better. In this case, I think it could be just a function. It has with type. That kind of sounds a little bit better in my opinion, not as general, and tells what should happen. So we could just let's say run it, and you can see like it has UUD type, and kind of say, in my opinion, it sounds a little bit better, but yeah, it's your choice. And one more thing I like to do, but we won't have an object right now for autocomplete. So okay, that's fine. So just run creation of an object, and everything is passing. And another thing I like to do is move this from string to just using class statement. So it's also your personal choice how you like it. more. I just like it when it's not in strings, but it depends. So let's just delete, put this one, use as class, and okay, something doesn't look that. It says what we don't have at class. Yeah, the problem is it's kind of using our namespace and adding to that namespace, and it just don't found the class. So just add a slash beforehand to make like it an absolute namespace, and I think it's suggesting for us unnecessary fully qualified name, what it actually means. Yeah, just suggesting us to use a US statement, exactly what I like. So we don't want this inspection, we want import class. It just adds our would-be class, and this looks pretty nice in my opinion. Like I said, it's your choice. Okay, so our tests are running, everything looks. One more thing which you might have noticed is what our methods don't really follow PSR2 standard, and it so one issue is what it has no visibility, so they should have public before, and it also uses snake cases. Okay, that my brain is farting. So yeah, it would be snake cases, I think, and the issue with so normally it should look public function. It has UUID type. So, but the problem with it is that you don't really need a visibility keyword, because the tests are always public, and using camel cases are not really that not as readable as snake case. So if you, for example, run it, is our test. I know. I think, yeah, it's. I guess there is some configuration or something about having them to be in. Let's see. I think the documentation mentions something about that, so I guess, yeah, by default it's configured to find methods that are named. Yeah, it looks for methods that start like it or it is, and it really just is how it finds tests. So no, okay, not gonna look for it. So maybe try matches. Okay, doesn't matter. it should be somewhere in documentation where it mentions it, but then it mostly just let us name it with it, it is. So this wouldn't work, and it's actually just really hard to read, and in this case we can just break the coding standards for our unit tests and do it way easier to read and notice. I knew it was mentioned somewhere because I actually was doing a pull request on fixing this dot. So yeah, as you can see, just examples are public methods that start with it underscore or its underscore, and it runs the PHP specs just runs those methods, and the snake case is used just because it's just easier to read. Okay, it looks like this episode already slipped past me, and it's at half an hour. So just for everyone's sanity, I will cut it off. And yeah, in this episode, we learned how to install phpspec, how to run commands for creating, for describing classes and installing it. We learned a little bit about configuring it. We also learned how to change the default templates which are used for code generation, and yeah, in the next episode I think we will continue building our UUID hello object, and we will write a few more tests for it, and we will also learn how to make sure our objects are correct. So we'll start using a few more libraries, and it should be a really nice episode. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next episode.